What comes to mind when you think of the term great composer? For some of you, Beethoven. Others of you might think Miles Davis. Others yet might think Lin-Manuel Miranda. For each of us, a different name might come into our head when we think of the term great composer. For some of us, a piece of music might even come into our head when we think of them. For most of us, though, what we won't think about is how. How did these people become the great composers that they are or were? And how can we be like them? All right, so you're a composer. You've written a melody on your keyboard, or you've jammed out a piece of music on your guitar, or you've come up with some sick bass line, and you're wondering to yourself, how can I make this better? And maybe you aren't a composer. Maybe you've only just learned your C major scale or G major scale. Maybe you're a guitarist who's just learned their G and their C chord, their D and their E minor. This video is still for you. Today I'm going to be talking about 4 tips to make you a better composer. That's right, learn to sing. Now, you might already be going, whoa, Spumzo, what do you mean learn to sing? Don't you mean learn harmony, expand my knowledge of reharmonization or other keys? Why would I be learning to sing? Well, here's the thing. My daughter's about to turn 6 months tomorrow or 2 days ago, depending on when you watch this video. Her whole thing these days is to babble. Every day she goes at it, mostly between 3 and 5 a.m. What my daughter is doing is trying to figure out communication. You see, what's happening is inside of her head, she has things that she wants to say. She has wants, she has needs, sometimes she's hungry, sometimes she's tired, and she has no way of communicating that to us. And what she started to do through this babbling is to learn how to communicate with us. Now, it's not going to happen in one night, it's not going to happen in one day, but over time, what she's going to do is she's going to be listening to what her mother is saying, what I'm saying to her, what her aunts and her brothers are saying to her. And slowly but surely, she's going to start forming a language, forming a way to communicate to the outside world. Now, it'll take years of practice, of course, but eventually my daughter is going to have her own voice. This is why singing is important. We all have an ability to express our innermost thoughts. And that's not just in a linguistic way, but also in a musical way. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Spumzo, it's all good and well for you to say we need to learn to sing, but not everyone can sing. Well, I want to challenge you and say that that's not true. You see, singing at its most basic is a combination of rhythm and pitch. We know that if you can speak, you can pitch. And when you as a composer can learn to pitch, this helps you bring out the music that is already within you. The second tip I have for you is reading and writing. Now, for many musicians in the world, they compose music without ever learning how to read and write, and it doesn't really ever affect them. But I want to talk about how reading and writing can improve your composition. It doesn't really matter whether you're an amateur composer or a professional who's been writing for years. Reading and writing music can absolutely improve your composition. Initially when you learn to read and write music, it might be limiting because it's something you haven't done before or something that you don't quite understand. But it is important to note that just like with writing words, the more you do it, the freer you become. the more you are able to express yourself in your own voice. And really, that's what we want as composers. The more we write, the more we want to express what is happening inside of ourselves. Remember what I said about learning how to sing and how that frees you up because it's your own voice and how you communicate? Well, writing it down is just as important. Imagine if William Shakespeare had never written down his thoughts. Shakespeare is a man who is said to have invented more than 1,000 words in the English language. Imagine if he hadn't written them down. Now, what about you? Imagine all the ideas that you have that just disappear because they're in your head. You maybe fooled around on the piano a bit and then it left. It's important for us to learn to read and write our own music. One, to document it so that at a later time we can develop it, change it, grow it, but also so that we can analyze it, so that we can analyze ourselves. And in analyzing ourselves, we're able to see where our strengths are and also where our weaknesses. Learning to read and write, coupled with singing our melodies, will make you a better composer. Practice rewriting your music. Now, I know what you're thinking. Most of us already do this. We all rewrite our music. We all fix it and make it better. But here's the thing. I'm not talking about rewriting your music only when it's bad. I'm not talking about fixing it when there's a clear error and we try and figure out, well, how can we do this better? I'm talking about rewriting your music even when it's good. You see, the thing is, we limit ourselves when we only rewrite when things are bad. We don't know how much better a piece of music could be if we rewrite it. Let's take, for example, the piece of music I wrote in the last video. A very short theme, which I orchestrated almost immediately after writing. But I never really went back to that music and thought, well, how could I make it better? What if it was minor, for instance? Or what if it wasn't minor, but didn't start in the tonic of the song? You see, there are all these options when it comes to composing a piece of music, and sometimes we just stick to the first one that works. I challenge you to rewrite even when it does work. Can you make it better? Can you make it good? Can you make it great? You need to share your music. I get it. You know, it's a fear that we all have, an anxiety that all of us who compose or sometimes just orchestrate, we have this fear of sharing our music because what if it's bad? What if people don't like it? I mean, that's a thing. And as you can already gather, I'm not talking about sharing your music just on Spotify or Apple Music. I'm talking about share it with people you know. Share it with people you trust. The big thing about sharing your music is you actually want feedback. You actually want to know what people think of what you do. Now, I get it. That can be really bad if the people you share it with have no tact. But hopefully you surround yourself with the right kind of people who can give you constructive criticism. That criticism is important. And not just from other professionals. It's important to get feedback from people who have no understanding of music as well. People who will just say, I really like your bass line. Without an explanation, without a detailed theoretical analysis. That's work for you to do. What they are doing is really encouraging the good parts of your work and also pointing out some potential flaws. The more feedback we get, when combined with our analysis of our music, makes us better. So I encourage you all to share your music. Share it with friends, share it with family, share it with strangers on the street. Just share it. If you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. And if you want to find out more about what I do as a South African composer, theatre maker, and orchestrator, please hit the link in the description. Theatre Geeks, out.